tree.
Okay. So awesome. So welcome once again, guys. So we're going to start with this very short activity. I want us to, if you can look at, if you can see the Christmas trees, there are like 12 of them, and they are numbered 1 to 12 actually. No, not 1 to 12. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Some numbers are repeated. And the reason for this is that the feeling you're supposed to, if you see 2 Christmas trees that have the same number, so they actually show the same feeling. So I want you to choose the number and put in the chat box. The Christmas trees, the Christmas tree that shows how you're feeling today. Of course, number 1 is very dry and out. Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel burnt out with work? Are you sad? Then that is when you choose 1. So 2 has green. You're just, there's a part of it up there that is dry. You're not really excited, but you're not sad. You have life in you and you're grateful. That's number 2. 3, you're really booming with joy. You're getting excited. And then, there are different ones. They just just put in the chat the number that explains the feeling you're having. Let's get that moving.
Okay, sorry, please, if I may mention, on the third row,
okay,
on the final row, so to say, the third Christmas tree doesn't have a number. It's not numbered.
Okay, let's say that is 10. Yeah. The one that it doesn't have, thank you for the observation. The one that doesn't have a number, let's say that's 10. So just put in the chat box the Christmas tree that expresses how you're feeling. Let's keep it coming. Okay, Jumoka says 2. Okay. Is there anyone that shows hungry? Okay, hungry would be maybe 1. Because when you're hungry, you're dry, or maybe 2. Okay, you're still, 2 should be hungry, actually. I'm not sure. Olama says 5 and 10. You're booming with excitement. You're happy. You feel blessed. That's awesome. Who else? Adebokola says 4. So I think the next step is for me to ask you why you chose the number. So can you tell us, Bukola, why you chose number 4? Unmute yourself and speak. Why did you
can you just give me, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can.
Because I'm actually in transit. All right, so for me, right now I'm hungry, but at the same time, I still feel lively. I can see green leaves on that tree, so I feel like, okay, despite the fact I'm hungry, I am still lively. I am still able to do things and,
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that's
awesome. Awesome. Great to know. Thank you for that. Jonathan, what about you? Why did you choose 5?
Okay, I'm just there. A number of unpleasant things, but life goes on, and yeah, moving on well.
Oh, thank God for life. Thank God for life. I mean, life is not perfect for everyone. We all have our challenges here and there, but knowing that we still have life in us is great. Thank you for sharing that, Jonathan. Olama, you chose 5 and 10. Why did you choose 5 and 10?
Okay, so I mean, it's been a big day for me today. I've had a lot of activities that came by from the start of the day up until now. It doesn't mean I'm not tired, or I would say I am, but I'm booming in excitement because of the expectation I have towards what it is we're about to learn and the knowledge we would share and gain. So that's why I chose 5 and 10, actually, not as though I'm having a very perfect day.
Oh, that's so encouraging. Like I said, life is not perfect for everyone. No matter how good things are, there will still be something out there that makes you sigh. It could even be the situation of things around you, but it's really important that we find a place to be thankful and grateful for what we have. And I like the fact that you're really looking forward to what we're learning today. I'm excited as well. Thank you for sharing. And Jumoke, why did you choose 2? Can you share with us?
Okay, I choose 2 because there is green, and green there is, I mean, life, it's still growing. That's why I choose 2. I mean, I'm just there, but there's life and it's still growing. It's still vibrant. So there's opportunity to latch on. That's all.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for that. I mean, I like the fact that you said there's opportunity to grow. And what I'll say stuck to me from that is we're all not where we want to be, but it's very important that we keep making efforts to get to the next step, to get to the next stage in our lives. We need to set goals, what we want to achieve. I'm sure many of you here, you're here today because you are really you are being intentional about your personal growth, your personal development in your career, and you have taken the step to, learn, and then you're optimistic that you're going to grow, things are going to get better, and I really appreciate that. So thank you everyone for joining today and for sharing how you feel. It's really good to know. So today we're going to be learning, we're going to be continuing our scenario-based learning. So before we start today's class, really, let's have a recap of what we did last week. Does anyone remember what we did? I think I should share some of our, okay, I'm going to do a recap. Let me not waste our time. Let me do a recap from here. And then we'll go to today's class. So I'm not sure if everyone here is already a learning and development professional. Honestly, being in this class, if you are not already doing learning and development, you're likely to find it a bit strange and probably hard. And so it's very, very important that I state this. If you're not already into learning and development, it's good for you to be in this class and see what happens. It's also one of the ways that you will know if you're a fit for learning and development. But however, I'm going to encourage every one of us who is not already an L&D professional to try and, do a course, in e-learning, generally to bring you, up to speed, to be able to understand what we are doing. If not, you're going to find it really strange. Whether you are here, now, or you are watching the replay, please, if you are not already a learning and development professional, probably doing it as a job, or you've had an experience in the past, this might not make much sense to you until you have a foundation. And so I encourage us to ensure that we enroll for a boot camp, a course, a program in e-learning, if we already haven't done that, because what we are doing here in e-learning designers hub is to teach us skills, majorly design and development skills, which may not really make sense to anyone that doesn't have any idea about things like need analysis, why we train people, how you create content and all that, evaluation strategies. There's so much that you can learn from here, every 2 weeks, rather than when you, enroll for a course. So last week we learned how to generate content using AI. We used ChatGPT. We created a scenario storyboard, scenario-based content storyboard, and we learned how to use the morph feature on PowerPoint to create animation. And we talked about the 3 parts of a scenario-based e-learning. You need your content, you need your storyboard, and you need to develop your content. And we talked about the 3 elements of scenario-based e-learning: the challenge, the choice, and consequence. And I went ahead to show us some of the ways that we can, some of the softwares that we can use for our animation, to create animation, and for our storyboard. And this is an example of a storyboard that we created last week. I'm going to talk a bit about this storyboard now because some of us submitted assignments that were not well crafted, okay? When you're creating your storyboard, number one, you have your challenge as the starting point, and then your arrow points to the choices. As you can see here, I hope we can all see. Are we following?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you. So it goes to your choices. Then from each choice, you have your arrow now going to the consequences. As you can see, this is the first from the challenge. Remember, we have challenge, the 3 C's, challenge, consequence, and challenge, choice, and consequence. Now, the first thing, you have your challenge, which is here, the person carrying this box, and it goes to your choice. Sarah moves an item on her own. And what is the consequence here? Okay, and then you have your consequences, which are 1, 2, 3. So this box actually should be okay. I think that may be why people were confused. Okay, I see what happened is the labeling. Okay, let me just make that correction here. So this one here should be a circle representing your choice, even though it's the wrong choice. Okay, I'll just make that correction now. Choice 1. And choice 2. And then these are your consequences here. So I see where the mistake is. So when you have your challenge, you have your 2 choices, the arrow points in the choices, and then the choices will now point to the consequences. So I think that was what confused some people. I sent messages to some people during the week. I don't know if you are here. I hope the way I have explained it now makes sense to you. If you are here and I told you during the week that you did not map your storyboard very well, if you are here, I hope this explains it very well now. Yeah, okay.
Yes, for me, I have a better clarity now. It seems that during the last class, I didn't start up from the beginning. So I'm not sure I saw this at all when you started the class. Okay, great. So I also just realized that it's like I labeled this thing wrong, labeled it wrongly. So this should help people who were also in class to understand. So the first shape should talk about the challenge. The next 2 shapes where the arrow points to will be your choice 1 and 2. And then each of those ones will now point to the challenges. Okay, if we go to the Facebook group and see submissions, look at Bolanle's submission and the Oye's submission. Both of them had their choices, their storyboard, crafted the right way. So I'm sorry I think I misled us with the labeling. I mean, the way it was labeled would have worked if you had advanced understanding of storyboarding, but I should have made it more simple. So with this, if you are here now or you're watching the replay, this labeling should make it easier. Some of us still got it correctly though. So, and then we did, the reason I'm doing this recap is for people that didn't come last week and also to help us have a good flow into what we are doing. And in developing the transition, we worked on transition using the morph. If you were not here last week, you need to go and watch.
And then I gave us an assignment to create our topics using ChatGPT, and then the storyboard. And many of us did well with the okay, Jonathan, you have something to say? Are you raising your hand, Jonathan?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Sorry, on the storyboard, where you have challenge, where you just inputted challenge now, I was thinking
Oh,
that
sorry.
will have consequences.
That's all right. I mean, it should be consequence. You're right. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I wanted to write consequence. I'm sorry, I haven't slept well. So I thank you for that, Jonathan, which also shows to me that I know you were in class last week. It shows to me that you had a good understanding of what we did. And I have actually been mentioning 3 C's: challenge, choice, and consequence. And then I wrote the wrong thing. Thank you for that. So please, this is allowed. If you see that there's any mistake, just point out, even when one is teaching, we also use that as an opportunity to learn as well. So thank you for that. So challenge, choice, and consequence, you're right. And this consequence could also be feedback, as we're going to see in today's example. So let's move on. We did our animation. So I showed us how to do animation in case when you're doing your design, you want to do animation. So today we're going to be, we're going to show us today's learning outcome. So this is part 2 of scenario-based learning. While preparing for today's class, I realized that we're going to have to need a 3rd class. And the reason for this is not to overwhelm us and to have us. I understand from last week's response that not everybody learns at the same speed. But what I'm also going to do for us is to can we see my slideshow? Let me stop sharing and do it again. I'm going to give us resources. For those of us that want to move very fast, please remind me during the week. I'm going to send us resources that we can use to learn some things ahead of class. But in terms of teaching people, I'm going to take it at a pace that will help everybody to flow. But for anyone who is really, really interested in moving very fast, please let me know, and I'm going to send us resources, okay? Okay, can we see this thing in the slideshow format? I don't know why it's can we see my screen? Can we see today's learning outcome?
Oh, that's not what I can see from here. I can see how do you feel. The tree is still what I can see from here. I don't know if it's my network though.
I'm not sure, because I can see also that as I'm trying to move to something else, it's not really giving me that option. So you're probably right. Some slideshow. One moment, please. Okay, great. So I think it's gonna work now. So can we see it now? The slideshow with the Christmas tree, yes. And then can we see today's learning outcome?
No, not yet.
Now, wow, what's wrong with them? Zoom? What am I? Okay, I haven't shared my screen, sorry. So I'm sharing it now. Can we see today's learning outcome?
Great, yes.
Awesome, yeah. So thank you for following. So today we're going to learn, a bit of some concepts about scenario-based learning. We're going to learn it. We're going to learn how to use AI to create scenario-based learning. We did that last week. I'm going to show us a little bit more, tell us a little bit more about how we can, and then the elements and requirements of a scenario-based learning, and then developing a scenario-based learning. The development is going to take 2 steps. today I'm going to show us something, and the next week we'll complete it so that we are not overwhelmed. Because, you know, developing graphic design is not something that you should rush, so that we can have good understanding. All right. So I hope we can still see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so let's talk about why scenario-based learning is very valuable. And, you know, when it is valuable, it's valuable in skill development and in boosting confidence. And when I say in skill development, for example, you want to teach a customer service advisor a particular skill, maybe how to respond to, you know, some type of situations in clients. A good way to enforce that learning and to help them really have that skill development is to use scenario-based learning, because you are putting them to real life scenario, putting them in situations where it's as if that thing is happening, and then they're able to pick. Can we please mute if you are, Jonathan, help us mute anyone that is not muted, please. So as they face situations that are like what will happen in real life, and they make choices and they get feedback, it reinforces that learning. They're able to understand well, and that in turn boosts their confidence. For example, you want to teach a customer service advisor how to respond to an angry customer. You want to develop a skill, a training for that skill, and you put them in a situation where when the angry customer comes and, you know, says something really terrible, and they're able to respond in a way that calms that person down or reassures that person that things will be all right, and they make a choice which is wrong, like, for example, talk in a way that is also rude back to the customer, and the customer now, you know, the thing escalates, and then that person, and, you know, the feedback they're getting is when you make that choice and it escalates to your immediate direct reports, you get a suspension. That is, in the learning, they are picking a choice that gives them that feedback that this will result in this. That way, they develop the skill. And then when they make another choice that is okay, and then the result tells them that they get promoted, that way it sticks better than when you just have, you know, items listed in a PowerPoint or PDF file. So, and when you make choices in a scenario-based learning and you get the feedback, it gives you the confidence that you now know the right thing to do, especially when you get to the point where you make the right choices, right? So that is why, one reason. So how do we utilize AI in scenario-based training? I said I was going to mention this. In content creation, in writing our scripts, and personalization and translation. So content creation, we did a bit of that last week. And then writing scripts. Writing our scripts is actually, content creation is, you have your situation, you go on ChatGPT and you put in the situation. If you were not here last week, please watch last week's class and you see how we did that. We put in the situation that we wanted, and ChatGPT actually gave us situations about, you know, what could happen when they make the right choice, when they make the wrong choice, what feedback, what choice, what challenge. Gave us the challenge to put for that kind of training, gave us the choices and the feedback. So we're able to create our content. Then writing the script is actually what you're going to put in when you want to now have a scenario where it looks like there's a conversation between two people. I'm going to do a bit of that today, but we are not writing the script. So with ChatGPT, you can get the script. So script means you want to create a video, and then you want to be able to determine what this person says and what that person says in response, and then there's a conversation. So that conversation between two people, you need scripts to be able to create a video for that. You can use ChatGPT. So personalization is a situation where you have your background, your scene. For example, for a customer service advisor training, you have an office situation, if office background, or for like what we did last week, it was for warehouse, somebody that was carrying something from a warehouse to the office. Excuse me, we have different scenes where we had the warehouse background, we had the office background. Those are making it more personalized. So that way you can relate with the scene, the background, and the part of personalization is the characters, right? How you can generate your characters. So those are the things you need to consider. Those are the advantages of using AI, the ways you can apply AI to and utilize it for your scenario-based training, for your content creation, your script and personalization. So let's come to we've talked about the 3 elements of scenario-based training: challenge, choices, and consequence. I'm not going to talk much about that again. Now, what are the requirements for your scenario-based training? You need to have a plan. You need to develop your storyboard and develop your content. In the plan, I'm going to talk about the plan today. We did storyboard last week. I'm going to talk a bit about the plan today, and then we're going to start developing. So let's talk about a scenario plan. In your plan, you need to have a goal, and you also need to have your character, okay? Let me share something. I'm going to share something with us now. Give me a moment. There's something I need to share with us. Give me a moment, screen. Just give me a moment. There's something I ought to share today. Are we following? Does anyone even have a question at this point? And do we understand the things that I've said so far? I need us to...
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Those are awesome for you.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen back. So can someone just mention to me what you type in the chat box from everything that I've explained just now? What really has stuck to you in what I've discussed earlier today? You can mention the topic, you can mention what's under the topic, what has really stuck to you in the things that I've mentioned today. I want to be sure we are following. Can you tell me one thing that has stuck to you today in what we have, the things that I've said? Are we here? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Adebukola, Olama, Olarewaju, and Jumoke.
I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So I need you guys to tell me one thing that you have, from everything that I've said before now, one thing that you can say you have learned or that you understand, or are we just still following and trying to make sense of what is being said?
Okay, well, for me, the storyboard correction, because I remember I made some mistakes too when I was doing my storyboard, and they told me to reduce. So, the corrections you made today make it a little clearer for me. Although I still have issues with the broadness of the workspace. I feel like it's tiny. I don't know if it's the particular frame that I chose or something. Well, yeah, that's it.
Okay, so let me give you Thank you. Let me give you
Okay.
feedback on that. So the screen was not small. You're the one just thinking it has to be big. Maybe, I don't know if you did it on your phone or a laptop.
I use my phone.
Oh, that's why. So when I viewed it on a laptop, it was expanded. So it's okay to, to have small, to have those small shapes that are used in spreading them. By the time you are viewing it on a laptop, you're going to see that it's actually okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So can we still see my screen?
Yes.
The scenario plan. Can we see scenario plan?
Yes, I can see
Yeah.
it.
Yes,
Okay,
I can
great.
see.
Okay, great. So now this, when you want to plan for your scenario, because I just showed us how to generate content last week and we did animation. It's very important for every content that you are creating, there are steps that you need to take. Now you need to know what goal you are trying to achieve. You need to begin with the end in mind. Okay. And then there's also the characters. There has to be a goal they are trying to achieve. There has to be characters and then the setting. Let's talk a bit about the goal. One thing about the goal, like I said, is you begin with the end in mind. And when you're thinking of a goal as a learning and development professional, most of the time you are trying to create course or create trainings. Maybe you are helping in your organization, you are going to work with subject matter experts, right? Or you might even be the subject matter expert. At times it's a freelance work where you're creating training for someone. It's very important to ask your subject matter experts, also known as SMEs, what they want your learner to be able to do and not just what they want to know. I'm going to say that again. You need to ask them, what do the learners need to be able to do, not just what they need to know. I've been giving an example of the customer service advisor, that if you want to teach people a particular topic, you can get trapped in thinking, okay, let me just look for all the theory and just put it together. You're not going to achieve anything if you don't align it with what people really need to be able to do after the learning. Okay, you need to ask about the specific behaviors that they need to change or what they need to be able to do after the training. And that is what should guide what you're even trying to look for on ChatGPT. Because I knew I needed to talk about this. Well, it's not just about going on ChatGPT and just looking for text. You need to have a goal in mind, and that goal should guide your prompts that you put on ChatGPT in case you don't have your content. When you get content from ChatGPT, you need to refine it based on your own learning objectives. You've done your need assessments and all that, and you're working line in line with subject matter experts. And the things that you have to consider in developing your scenario-based learning is to ask your client or ask the subject matter experts, about behaviors. Ask them, for example, a client is saying, I want to develop or design a training for me concerning customer service or better communications. Those are very generic and broad. You need to ask specific questions, okay? For example, for customer service, it might mean that they want their cashiers or customer service advisors to be able to ask customers if they found everything they are looking for, all right? And they are calling someone to get it if they missed something. Do you understand? That is a specific behavior that you want to observe. Another example is you want them to be able to use phonetics to get information from them. For example, they are telling you their name. Everybody who does customer service knows it's very important that you get names written correctly, email addresses named correctly, and then you want them to be able to use phonetics to be able to record data. Phonetics means, for example, if you want them to spell a name, that is Jane, instead of saying spell J-A-N-E on the phone, J could sound like G, N could sound like M. All right. Well, the way you are sure you are getting the right information is when you say J for John. John is not actually the right in phonetics, I forgot, but A is alpha, N is November, E is echo. that is a specific behavior that you want to change. And then that will determine the content that you want to put in. You teach them phonetics, right? And that will be your content. And then another example is for better communication. You want your learners to be able to communicate better. That's generic. But a specific example is better communication between nurses and patients might mean asking open-ended questions to learn what concerns are most important to the patient. Open-ended questions are questions where you ask them a question, you allow them to actually talk, and then they're able to tell you the information. So when you ask, specific questions to get to know about the specific behaviors, you'll be able to know what to put in your scenario-based learning. And then other things you need to find out is to identify common mistakes. Remember, we are looking at choices and we're giving feedbacks. Choices have to include the right choices and the wrong choices. How do you know what the wrong choices would be? What are the common mistakes that your learners make in their role? These common mistakes they make in their role are going to be the wrong choices that you're going to put in your scenario-based learning. The example we did yesterday showed one right choice and one wrong choice. In an ideal scenario-based training, you can have as many wrong choices as possible. And why are you giving them the opportunity to choose a lot of wrong choices? You want them to see the choices that they will make that will be wrong, and you want them to get feedback in that training on those wrong choices. And that way, they know why they should not make those choices. Are we following me? Please, if you are following me, give me an emoji in the chat box, please. If you are following me, please give me an emoji in the chat box, please. Great. Great. That's from, it looks like Olama is the only one following. Okay, Jonathan, thank you for that. Please give me an emoji in the chat if you are following, if you understand and it's making sense to you. Great, Bukola, thank you. So I expect from the rest of you. So identify and then after you identify common mistakes that will help you to get the wrong choices, identify the consequences of those mistakes. So you're working with a subject matter expert now, and they are the ones that know what happens in the role, and they're the ones giving you the, this content. So what are the general consequences of these mistakes that will form your feedback? Okay. And then after that, you draft your scenario decision points, and then you design your rough flow chart. Your flow chart is your storyboard. Okay. So that is how we came about generating. So those are the things that goes on in the mind of ChatGPT to come up with your challenge, your choices, and your consequences in a real life situation where you are dealing with a subject matter expert. Either you work in an organization that helps people to design training and you are responsible to get information for them, or whether you are dealing with your own clients as a freelancer. This is the process you're going to go through. You're not just going to go on ChatGPT and get generic, ideas, but then ChatGPT could give you more ideas, especially if you're working in an organization, you design training. It's up to you. There's really no subject matter expert to talk to. Or the subject matter expert does not even have an idea of how to develop content. You're going to be able to support them by using ChatGPT. ChatGPT should be for support, not to get the information. But if you understand all the steps that I've given you here in your goal, it helps you to know how to craft your content and your script for your information. Now let's talk about the complexity of your scenario. That, different, your scenario-based storyboard can be very simple and it can be quite complex. You can have the linear one, the guided story, and the branching multiple option. So the branching scenario. So let's go to the linear. The linear scenario is the one in which you have a straightforward path with a narrator guiding the learning. For example, you have introduction and then it goes into the setting. The setting gives you, the setting of course is your background and your character. Then you put in this scenario. It's just one scenario, and then you have your commentary. Scenario, and then your feedback. That's a linear one. There are some courses that will go that way. There is the guided story, which is what we did last week, in which you have your scenario, right answer or wrong choice. And then if they are making a wrong choice, they go back to continue. That continue takes them back to the scenario where they keep, picking the choices, and then you have your feedback. And this guided story also is related to your branching scenario. I've explained the branching scenario actually in all that I've been talking about. You have choices, and each of these choices have their consequences. And that this branching scenario and the guided story, they kind of work together, because when you make a choice that is wrong, you're going to have to go back. You're going to design your training in such a way that it goes back for them to be able to make the right choice, right? Great. So now we're going to start creating our scenario on PowerPoint. What we are going to do today is to get our master slide created with a background and character. We are using a comic setup. We're going to have 2 characters in the dialogue. And these are the features that we're going to be making use of from PowerPoint: shape, outline, sketches, and all. And at the end of today's class, we're going to be able to design something like this. We're going to be able to design something like this. I hope we can see it clearly. Can we see what I'm showing us clearly?
Well, somehow.
Yes.
Okay. Give me.
Could it be better? We can see it, but somewhat tiny.
Okay, give me a moment. I'm trying to change the. Okay, I'm trying to apply the screenshot, but it seems to be. Okay, is it clear enough now? Okay,
Yes, but for the write-ups still seem tiny. I don't know if it's just me.
So let me go back again and see. So how about like this? Is it clear enough? Is it big enough?
No, the previous one is even better.
Okay, let's go back. And again, what you're able to see will be determined by what you are using.
Yeah, this is better.
Okay, so this shows the entire screen where you see character A, character B, and all that, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. If you're using a phone, it's going to look small. Trust me. So it's
I think that's the challenge I have. I'm switching to my laptop because I was actually on transit. So yeah, I'm back home now.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I've been with us for like an hour now. Do we just take 5 minutes break and then go on this, or should I just continue?
5 minutes break would be nice.
Okay, for you. Do we all agree with that? Bukola, Jumoke?
Yeah, I agree. I just finished eating, so I can just do.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
5 minutes. 5 minutes. You don't need to disconnect from the call. Just all right. So 5 minutes break. I'll just use that time to ease myself as well. So please share in the chat an emoji that shows how you're feeling, how excited you are about the fact that we're about to start the real content development. We've talked about how to plan our content, how to generate content, the fact that we need to have a character, a display, a background and all. I think I should go back a bit and explain 1 or 2 things to us. So here, so I've explained to us about the goal, knowing your goal, really, really ensuring that your subject matter expert gives you specific information about what needs to change in your in the learners and not just what they need to know. It's not about just putting content together and putting text and information together and just downloading information to them. You need to know what behavior needs to change. What do they need to be able to do after they take that class? And that should inform the content that you come up with. So I know for character, so this character could be a picture, it could be a vector image or a cartoon picture. Oh, there goes another typo, sorry, in cartoon pictures here. Sorry about that. So last week, the animation we did, we made use of vector image, and I explained to us that using vector images and also cartoon pictures that we're going to be using today, you know, it's safer to do that. And the reason is it allows for scalability. If you want to resize the image, in case you were not using a picture that has a very good resolution, it's not going to get pixelated. All right. So that's why a lot of people use vectors and cartoon images. And then, so to get these vector images, you can get them from Midjourney. Midjourney is an AI image generating AI software that gives you images. And in getting these images, you can get these images having different positions and different facial expressions, so that as you tell your story, for example, if the character is standing at a point and then you are going to another scene where they are sitting down, Midjourney can help you get those kind of images and with facial expressions changing. And depending on, you know, the theme of your content that you are creating, is it for a farmer or for an office setting? You can get characters that you can change their uniform, what they are wearing, the background and all that. But Midjourney is not a free app, but in case you have a client that is going to pay you for content creation, it's worth investing in. You just, you know, understand how much you need to spend, for how long you want to create the course, and then you factor it into the cost. And if you're working in an organization that the content is being used to generate, to make money, of course, in an organization, we do business to make money. You can encourage them to invest in Midjourney. So I'll encourage us to check out Midjourney and see how the kind of characters and backgrounds you can get from there. Free characters you can also get from PowerPoint. I'm going to show us today. Pixabay, Freepik, these are all soft websites that we can get our characters from. For background setting, I've mentioned that there's one application or software that I came across during the week. It's called Colossian. It's amazing because you can use it to generate videos. You know, you can select backgrounds, you can select characters, you can put in your text. You know, I don't know if anybody knows about text-to-speech features in some softwares. You just put in your text and then your character will just start saying it. Do you understand? You don't have to look for character somewhere and try to edit it in a vector editing software or something. Everything is in that app. In fact, most of the things we see is that in a lot of AI video generating tools is that they have voices that you have to pick from. For this software, you can actually use your own voice. It can pick up your voice as if you're the one talking with another image. It's fantastic. It's paid, it's expensive, but these are things that we can suggest to our organizations. And then if we have freelance jobs that we can use, Colossian. So if you want the link, I'll share it with you later. And for Midjourney. So we know we should have a goal in our scenario plan. We should have our character and we should have a setting, right? So are we clear on that? Do we have any question as I move to the next thing? We've talked about our goal. We've talked about the complexity of our scenario. So now we're going to develop using PowerPoint today. So we're going to have something like this. This is a setup in which, you know, I know a lot of people believe that when you are creating a scenario-based learning, there must be an actual background. There must be an actual set. It doesn't have to be, especially if you're working on a budget or you're still trying to create your portfolio. All right. These are free tools that you can easily get PowerPoints to use, and I'm going to show us how we'll do that. Are we clear? And do we have any question before I move to the next thing, please? It's very important that you let me know if you have any question before I move to the next thing. I'm going to go to the main development and show us how I created this. Anyone have a question? No question. All right. I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to develop together on PowerPoint. Jonathan, are you still?
Yes, I'm still admitting people.
Okay, you still have the privilege to as a co-host to admit people, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So I'm trying to leave this place. And show. Okay. So can we see am I still sharing my screen? Am I still sharing my screen, guys?
No, not at the moment. You're about to start sharing. Yes, you just started sharing.
Okay, so can you see my PowerPoint? I'm on PowerPoint right now, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, great.
The network on my laptop is unstable. I had to switch back to my phone, so it's tiny, but I'll manage. It's fine.
You can actually use the two so that,
Okay.
if it's possible. So we're on PowerPoint now. So the first thing I want to show us is, okay, let me just take you through the journey of developing this scene and the characters and all that. So we have people waiting in the waiting room. Jonathan, I hope I'm recording. Yes, I'm recording. So I'm bringing us now to this blank slide where we have nothing on the screen. So the first thing, so what we want to create now, usually when you want to do your scenario-based content development, where you have your character and your scene, there should always be a master slide. The master slide now, if you remember last week, we had a master slide that usually had a master slide, then you can now duplicate this master slide to, edit and put other things. So we are creating our master slide today, okay? Creating scenario in PowerPoint, master slide with background and character. It's going to be a comic setup, 2 characters in a dialogue, and this is it, okay? So let's come back to our blank page. So the first thing you want to do is to create your scene. So in this case now, you have 2 different backgrounds showing 2 different people. Now we're using PowerPoint to do something that will help you with a budget, on a budget. If you have a background, honestly, you can put your background and just put it in it, it will work, but I'll just do something simple today. So the first thing is you go to Insert. Under Insert, you see shapes, right? So I'm going to choose this shape, this rectangle that has 4 right angle sides and just one, curved, one corner, rounded corner. And then you draw it. Okay. So like I said, we're doing something that is more like comical, like almost like you're doing a, a free hand drawing. So I'm going to give it, this is the shape fill. You can use any color you want, basically. So since I want to replicate the same thing I did earlier, I'm going to just use yellow for this shape. Now, for the shape outline, click shape outline. It's going to be black color. I'm giving it a shape outline that is black. I'm also on the shape outline. If you have your PowerPoint, you can practice as we do, or maybe later you'll watch it. Then I'm going to increase the weight of that shape outline to be thick, thicker than normal. Let's do 4.5. And then there's another feature on the shape outline I'm going to choose, which is called sketched. So this is going to make it look like a freehand drawing. Doesn't look like a perfect shape. So I'm going to choose so that it looks comical. You know, when you're looking at all these comical books, or what do they call them? Comical books and comics. They look like hand drawn. It's not perfect. So let's choose this. Okay, let's choose this. Yeah. So that's for one part of the scene. Remember, we're having 2 characters. So to have the second scene, I'm just going to duplicate this by copying and pasting Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. And then I'll bring it to the side. So I'm going to reverse the direction. So if you come to shape format here, up here in your menu up there, shape format. Under shape format, you see rotate. So flip horizontally, so that flips it, and then we can adjust the position afterwards. Is that clear? Before I move on to the next thing.
It is.
Okay, great. So we have 2 backgrounds, just like this one, right? Now, some of you might be wondering, how did I get this extra texture under it? I chose the snowflakes because, this is Christmas season, and, I don't want it to be just plain. I just want to add something. So to achieve that, so let's, okay, sorry, I'm not going to duplicate yet. Let me delete this duplicate. When I finished with the texture and all, and then I'll duplicate so that we are not having to do it 2 times. So we have this shape now. So we'll go to, let's go to insert, under shapes, under shapes, no, under pictures now. Yeah, pictures, stock images. Note this picture place, this and stock images, we're going to be getting a lot of things from here. So you want to really pay attention. So we'll just go to illustrations for now. Under illustrations, you're going to see, options of what you can use for your texture. If you scroll down, you're going to see my snowflakes, but let's try something else. For example, this one, I'm going to choose this one and snowflakes actually, and show us the possibilities we have. Where is it? Snowflakes, no, not you. Not you. So you can pretty much choose anything that works for what you want to achieve. Just to give it, okay, let me choose this flower roses. Did I choose my snowflakes? Yeah, snowflakes. Then insert. So actually I have 4 things here. So what I'm going to do is to duplicate my slide. I want to duplicate my slide and let us see the different effects that we have with different illustrations. Duplicate slide.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
I want to know, does it matter whether the Microsoft Office you have is the most recent one or not before you're sure all of these features are available on it?
Okay, that's a good question. Obviously, it's going to have to be a recent one, but whether it's most recent is what I'm not sure of. If you are using the web-based one, it will most likely be the recent one. And also, if you're using the desktop-based, as long as you have a subscription, it gets updated. So I believe that, yes, it should be. It should be a recent one, but how recent, honestly, I am not sure. So you have to try it out and see what you have, okay? Does that answer your question?
Yes, please. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm doing different backgrounds for us, textures for us, so that we just see the difference. It doesn't really matter which one. I think you should choose something that works with the theme that you're doing, the theme that you have in mind. Okay, this is I'll just work with 3 of them. So remember, we are working, I'm going to work on the snowflake more because that's what I've created earlier. Okay, now let me work on something else so that we'll see the different options. So for this one now the pictures actually come a bit big, so you can reduce it so that it can fit into your background, reduce the size. You can even, make more than one of it. Depends on what you really have in mind. What I want to do now is to have like 3 of it, so that it gives an illusion of like a garden. All right. Okay, so with this now, I'm going to select everything. Okay, no, there's something I should have done before duplicating it. Sorry again. I mean, it's good that I'm making these mistakes now so that you know that you shouldn't make them again. So before duplicating, if you are duplicating anything, if there's any editing that you need to do on that thing, make sure you do that editing before you duplicate, so it makes life easy for you. So once I click on this now, I'm going to right-click on it and then choose Format Graphic. It's already open here, but for you, it may not be open, so I'm starting it from scratch. Right-click on the illustration, choose Format Graphic, and it opens up this Format Graphic pane for you. So just go to Transparency and increase the transparency. So we don't want our background looking like flower, because what we want to emphasize in this case are the characters, right? We just want the background to be a bit, richer. So we can see, and you can also change the color. It's possible to change the color for some of these. So if it's possible to change the color, graphic color, as you can see, saying yellow here. I want to make it kind of grayish, okay, yellowish. I don't want it to show the color. So I'm going to now do the transparency. So it's just there like a background, like a watermark. Yeah. So after I've gotten this effect, I'm going to now duplicate it. Are we following? Does this make sense?
Yes, please.
Good, thank you. So I'm just having like an illusion of like a garden or a nursery. So this is not so, you know. So after I've done this, I'm sure this is how I want my background to be. I will now duplicate. Remember, I said any editing you want to do, anything that you want to repeat on both sides or you want to duplicate, do your editing first before you. So now to group, I selected everything, Control G, or if you, I'm going to ungroup now and show us another way to group or ungroup. When you select everything, right click, you see group here, ungroup, group, you know, you can do that. So we have this now. Do we have everything grouped? Yeah, everything is grouped. So now I have everything together as one item. So I'm going to right click and then duplicate it. So I'm going to click on it, copy and paste. Oh no, what happened? Doesn't look like everything. Okay, great. So then we can now flip it over, go to shape format again, and then rotate horizontally. So depending on what you want to achieve, if your rotation is vertically, maybe up and down, you can do that. It's really up to you. So we have our background now for, so you can try to, you know, make them look symmetrical. I don't know what happened. This doesn't seem to come out right. I'm going to do it again. Duplicate. Where is it? Rotate, flip horizontally. Yeah. And then we can move it. Yeah, so that's it. So that's our background, that's our scene. If what you want is something like an office setting that has a shelf behind you, you can. So this will be okay for example, maybe what you're dealing with is something that has to do with a training that has to do with gardening or creating a nursery, something that has to do with nature. This background, you know, fits into it. For this one that I did, I chose Christmas, and I chose this because I chose these snowflakes because I'm just feeling like it's Christmas time, right? So I'm choosing this one now. So let's go to our character. Okay, before we go to character, let me now introduce something else. That is where our part of our feedback and some information would be. So I'm going to insert another shape. So I chose a shape that has two top corners and the downside are right angled. So I'm going to make it color black. Shape color. So shape format, shape fill. I'll choose black. And I'm also going to have shape outline, black. I mean, it's really up to you what you want to achieve. So again, we have the weight, this much. And this is for us to have the same sketched effect that makes it look like, you know, a cartoon background. So we have this now. So we have a background. So the next thing now is, let's work on our character, okay? Our characters, so for what I did here, what I have in mind is a scenario in which you have a teacher who is conducting a pastoral kind of service to a school, like these people that do that counseling. Yeah. So this is a girl that has been, you know, reported to to have been bullying someone. And so there's going to be a discussion between both of them, right? So you can see the first discussion says, hello, Miss Diane. And you can see his expression is calm, he's smiling. The lady has an expression like, so yes, Mr. Mark. Now, these are things that you can actually get done in PowerPoint. So he went ahead and said, could you please tell me why you hit James? So this is just one scene. And then we have place where you select a response, place where you have feedback and all that. Our responses are going to be here actually, and then the feedback is going to appear in the same place. After all those things we're going to do with animation, response and feedback, you're going to have the responses there already. So as you choose, the feedback would appear based on that. We are not going to do that on PowerPoint. It's going to be on another software, which is an authoring tool. We'll do that next week. But I just want us to get this foundation so that by next week, we have our character, our scene ready to be used in the authoring tool. And I'm going to send a resource to us to go through that authoring tool before we come to class. So this is what we want to do. So let's go to generating our character. So to generate the character, I'm going to make use of another slide, because our character is supposed to come up in form of a picture. We're going to put it all together. So let's start. We'll go to, I told us we're going to be getting a lot of things from photo. Are we following? Go to insert. Is it clear how far we've gone, guys?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. So go to picture again, stock images. Remember the last time that I wanted to pick a texture for our background? We went to cartoon people, right? We went to illustrations. Now we're going to use cartoon people. But before I go to that, let me quickly show us another place we can get characters from. In case you have, instead of developing what I developed now, you want to use a background and you want to use real characters, cut out people. You can see people with different reactions. If you come to Carrie, Carrie is a student with different, facial expressions, position, and all that. We can pick our characters from here. For example, I'm going to pick is pointing. And this one, let's insert. Isn't it amazing? So let's go back to that place, insert picture, stock images, cut out people. Let's choose someone that can act as a teacher. No, not Elena, Christiana. Someone wearing suit, some form of suit. So you can see there are plenty of options here. So let's pick this teacher that has Blackboard and is also, yeah. So I'm going to show us how to use the two characters actually, and then. So I've just helped us to choose, but I'm going to actually want to use the cartoon character for today's class, okay? But that was just to show you what is possible. So let me not divert too much. So let's go back to insert. So this time, instead of choosing the cutout people, we're going to choose cartoon people. All right, this is a bit different. So what I did here was to choose someone. So you can decide whether you want it to be a full character. I'm clicking character, okay. Or do you want it to be half character? Do you want it to be only heads? So the advantage of picking only heads or only face, and you can match the facial expression to it. Is it upper body? What I used was upper body. And then there's the full body. But for this purpose of this you know, you can see this full body without head and face. It's just for you to be able to determine whether, for example, if you choose this lady now, you want a different hair design from the one that is full. So I used upper body for, remember, I'm trying to replicate what I did earlier. So choose this person with a laptop, choose that person is a teacher or something. So we choose that. And then let's go and choose the head. You go back and choose the head, insert. So basically, just not to waste our time, I've showed us when you go to insert pictures, stock images, cartoon people, you can choose head, body, and all that. So I'll just go back to the options that I've chosen before, and then we'll get straight into it. So these are the options that I've chosen before and what I've created earlier, but the head can be separate. So this is the head that I used. Control C, bring it. I chose it from that other place, so put it in. Okay. So now I have different facial expressions saved. Okay, the one that is just looking blank, the one that is looking serious, the one that is looking like a smiley face, they are all here. And for the lady, when she was acting unbothered, when she was looking angry, when she was going to cry, you know, depends on the story that you want to tell. So I have them, but I'm going to create one character so that you see how I put them together. So let's pick this facial expression and bring it here. So the reason I picked, you know, the one that has body, head, and face differently so that I can, you know, tell a story with a changing facial expression. Okay, so I've put all these three together. So you're going to select all of them together. Okay, and right click. So two things you can do when you select like that, just do Control G, that groups it as one image. So you're good with your image, okay? Let's say, for example, we're going to import this somewhere later for next week. If you want to save this as a picture, what you need to do is to, you know, select it, right click, you'll see the option that says save as picture. And then you can go and save it wherever you want to save it. So I'm going to say teacher, normal expression. It's good for you to, you know, define those expressions, because when you are going to start using all of the different ones with the expression, it's easy for you to know which one to pick when. So I've saved it as a picture. Let's say, for example, I'm just about to import it. If you insert, you go to pictures, this device, and then, did I save it? It's supposed to show. Did I click save? Oh no, I don't think I saved it. So let's try that again. But let me go back again and see if it's just taking time. Looks like I didn't save it. Okay, so let's try that again. You can right click, you see save as picture. Teacher, normal face. Oh, so save. If I want to import this, it's supposed to be there. Go to insert pictures, this device. Great, it's there now. So when I bring it out now, so the difference between this one and the former one is this one now you can't edit it and separate the faces. It's together as a whole. So you can have the practice of saving it as a whole picture after you have done what you want to do. Now, if you want to change the expression of this one, now we can delete this expression Go back and pick another expression. You will see. Remember, you're going to be picking these expressions from your stock image. So we have another expression. We can save it as a picture. So you have all of them saved for when you need them, right? Are we clear on this before I move to the next thing, guys? Is this clear?
Yes, it is.
It's a lot to take in, but yes.
Yes, don't worry, we'll soon finish. That's why I'm not showing us the animation and, putting the text together today. So now these are the ones that I've created. So what I'll advise is the more you watch the video and you practice, the more you get it. And that's why I'm sure it looks like during the week, the reason I postponed today's class till today was for us to take time to understand last week's own. Now, practice will help you to be perfect. What I'll advise everyone that has attended this class now is that please practice it today or tomorrow. Watch the video. You may not need to watch the video again to practice because it's fresh in your brain, but if there's anything you didn't really grasp, go back to the recording. I'm going to make it available immediately. So go and watch it, try and practice. Once you practice now, it sticks, and keep practicing with different, watch the beginning of the week video, practice, different content, because it's not just about creating character. Your character will be created based on what you want to achieve. Remember, you know what you want people to be, the behavior you want to change. You have created content that tells the story of the challenge, the choices, and the consequence. Now, the choices and the consequences will determine your facial expression. Okay, so, and the cartoon, if you don't want to go through all this stress of creating cartoon that has facial expression and you can just make use of pictures that are already there. It's in the same place that you choose it. So I expect us to ask questions. If you are not sure of where I chose something from, you have the opportunity to ask me because you're in class now. I can always go back and show you. Excuse me. So we have our characters. So let's go back to our background. So I've showed you how I created my characters, and I'm going to show you. So this is the master. This is our master slide that we are creating now. We are creating a master slide. So now, character A, character B, but this time what I'm going to do is to name them teacher and students. So to do that, you go to insert. Insert is a feature that you're going to be using a lot. So this time we are inserting text, right? Insert text. You see your text box here, choose it, and then you draw, click it down and drag. I expect most of us to be able to do this. But to do that, once you select, you click down, your normal click, and then drag. So we're going to, this is our teacher or counselor. The person that's going to counsel the student in this situation. So I'm going to copy and paste. The good thing is you can always copy and paste to ensure consistency. So here, student. And then this is counselor. Okay, counselor students. Or we may want to, centralize it for each. I think it looks better that way, centralizing it. So here we have our first scene in which, copy this, copy, paste. We're going to make it a bit big. Oh, now I forgot to change this background. So I want this background to be a different color so that we can, differentiate between both characters. So I'll go to shape format. shape fill. So what I need to do, I may need to ungroup so that it doesn't change. Okay, let's see if it works. You know, I like to do these things and let you see what will go wrong when you do the wrong thing. So this is, okay, so it's selected only the background. So we are good. So we can make it a bit bigger, you know. Since there are no legs, we don't want people to see to wonder where is the leg. So let it just not show any leg. It just appears from under. Yeah. I didn't do that here, so I created this in a rush. This is a better option. Okay, so, and then let's choose our student from, you know, create what we created. So we place her here. So the reason I'm moving them away from the middle a bit is because in the middle is where I'm going to insert my speech, you know, the conversation that happens between both of them. So I make the students a bit shorter. Now let's go to our speech. Now this speech now is assuming that you already know, you already created your content, your script based on your storyboard. I've showed us what a storyboard is. I showed us last week. It's going to take this format, choice 1, choice 2. And then if you're having a script, at times before you get to this choice 1 and choice 2 and 3, you have the challenge. The challenge can have a script in which there's a discussion. You have to be creative. You know, there's a conversation between both characters. So now let's go to our speech mark, but we have less than 10 minutes more. So insert speech mark under shape actually. So we have different speech marks. Let's choose, so basic shape, back arrow, flow charts, star and banners. Under callouts, that's where you see your speech mark. Under callouts, it's down here. Let's choose this one. So the way to draw it also is you click it down and drag in the direction that you want. Okay. So I'm going to make this black. I want to make it as simple as possible, not too much color. You know, its character is like comic. So I'm going to make this background white and the text black. So let's go to shape format. Shape fill is black. No, sorry, shape fill is white. If it's black you want, it's okay, and then your text is white. You can do it either way, but make sure that everything is pleasing to the eye at the end of the day. So let's go to our text, insert text, and then you put in your text box, and then you can start writing. So in this case, my the first thing on my script is hello, Miss Diane. So this is a bit too big. I want it to be on a line, you know, in the middle. It's kind of big. So I'm going to reduce the size, come to home, text size, and then let's choose 12. Hello, Miss Dan. And if you notice now, this speech box, the arrow of who is speaking is to the left, which shows that it's the teacher. So now I'm going to copy and paste. And this time around, I'm going to flip it. Shape format, rotate, flip horizontal. Now the arrow of the speech is facing this side. So I'm going to bring it out so that the arrow for the right side is still pointing here. Let me move it out a bit to the left. And then this to the right. So this arrow here shows that Diane is the one speaking. And what was her response? Yes, Mr. Mark. Now, but beyond her response, I'm going to copy and paste the text box. Copy and paste and drag it down here. Beyond her response, we can see the expression on her face. And it just brings the conversation to life. Mr. Wood now is the mark. Ensure to centralize it so that it looks, you know, good. And the next one is, could you please tell me why you hit James? So we can just easily copy this first one because it's in the same direction. Then we drag it down. So this, in this case now, you don't have to, okay, I'm coming. Control C, Control V. So in this case now, what are we trying to achieve? What we want to achieve is a behavioral change in Diane, right? Who is going to be making the choices that will decide whether Diane actually becomes a better person? It's going to be Mr. James. So Mr. James is the one that is going to be making choices here, not Diane. Because Diane is in trouble. Diane, we want her to become a better person. But the way Mr. Mark handles the situation will determine whether Diane actually changes her behavior or not. And so let's come to selecting a response. So what I did here was to get a text box. I'm almost done. I'm just giving us context so that when we are creating our own, we know what to focus on. Insert text. Or we could just copy what we have here actually. Let me copy what I have here already. Control C, Control V, let's drag it down. So the difference between this one and what I did before now is this is not going to have the background is this black one. And this is like a button, so to say. So you can decide to make it a button that has, what I did here was to just, I did outline the shape with white. Now, remember where I'm bringing it from, it had black text. So I'm going to have to make it white so that it will show. And I could make it yellow, whatever I feel will help people to see it. So I've chosen yellow here because it's going to, so what I did was to tilt it a bit, just to give it some form of effect. And I increased the size of the text. I want to highlight the text now. I'm going to increase the size. You know, when you highlight a text like this, there's a box that comes up here. You don't have to always go up. So I'm going to choose a bigger size. And then I want to choose I want to choose another font that is almost like italic. Okay, maybe I'm choosing this. I'm going to make it italic. So what am I writing here? I'm writing select a response because you have to tell people what to do. Remember, this is a training, a course. So you need to tell people what to do. So that's why I said this is like a button that is giving your learners an instruction of what to do. So I need to increase the size because it's a bit not so. So this looks good. Select a response. So you can decide that you want it to be white color. I used white here, as you can see. And it's really up to you. So now the feedback and the response is going to happen here. Okay. So we have this speech now. So there's going to be a question where, so let's say, for example, Mr. James says, why did you hit, Mr. Mark says, why did you hit James? And this girl answered in a way like, it's none of your business. So that is supposed to, to provoke, you know, a response from Mr. Mark. So Mr. Mark is supposed to respond in a way that will help this girl change her behavior, right? So that is where our responses will come into play. Control-C, Control-V. So Diane says, I don't think that's not any of your business. Now, this will now, I want to put in the Control-C. So what do you think Mr. Mark should say next? No, that's the next, that is now where the action comes in. So we're going to give two responses to Mr. Mark. One that will help the girl be able to reflect on her behavior and change, and the one that will make the girl more angry. I'm not going to put anything now. Our time is fast spent. It's just to let us understand. So we have response, Control-C. So when we do the animation, the response comes here. It says select a response. The first response will be the one that is probably the right response. The other one will be maybe the wrong response. And then whatever response is chosen, okay, whatever response is chosen, when it is clicked on, we're going to add animation. Remember, we did something more last week, which the change to another page was based on after some seconds. But in this case, in our animation, we're going to choose something like when you click on something. For example, let's say what we want is appear. If you see start on what with previous, after previous, on click. So these are the options that you can actually do this course on PowerPoint as well. Okay, so when you click on this response that is put in here, it will now change to our next slide. So no, I said we are creating our master slide. So our master slide, actually, let me duplicate this slide. I skipped something. Let's go back. I'm going to remove a lot of things. So this is our master slide. Our master slide has the background. It has the characters. It has, you know, speech boxes and text, response and feedback. Let's assume that the response here is that Mr. Mark says, don't you dare talk to me like that. Like that. That's one response from Mr. Mark. Another response is, I know it's none of my business, but I would like to hear your side of the story. And anyone tell me which response will be the right response and which one will be the wrong one?
Option 1 will be the wrong one, 2 will be the right one.
Amazing. So that's it. So now the next thing I'll just quickly show us before we go. I said this is our master slide. We have to now start duplicating slides for our flow. We don't have to design it for everything. So this is the next slide now. Because he has made that decision, the feedback here will be what will appear when we now click. When we click on the wrong one will be a situation where number one, this girl's facial expression changes. She's angry. Let's pick that. That's the first thing that changes. Oh, no, that's not it. Okay. No, I didn't pick the expression. Let's go back. That means I did not group it together, obviously. Control G. So it's grouped now. Control C. What's happening? Oh. Control C. Yeah. So we have to ensure that it's the same position. So now she's angry because Mr. What's it called, made that choice. And then we are going to change Mr. Mark's expression to an expression that shows that he's not happy with the girl. He's not really showing a very angry face, but I've grouped that one. So you can see the problem I'm having here now because I did not group it. So I have to go back and pick the one that is grouped. So you see the advantage of having your characters created together. In fact, most importantly, save it as a picture. Because if you group it at times when you're picking it, it could be frustrating and it will waste your time. So I'm going to pick this one that I've grouped. Hopefully it will not stress me much. Okay, great. So that's it. Now he chose that response that says something else. And then this girl, so we're still going to leave their conversation here because it's still part of the conversation. But this one shows when you click on "Don't you dare talk to me like that," the next slide, the slide that it will take you to will be the one that shows an angry face and this. If you are choosing the other one, that means you create another slide that has a different expression based on the choice. I hope that is clear. So that's, I think, in order not to overwhelm us, that is okay. As we look at as we watch the class again, we'll be able, and based on whatever plan we have, we now know what to do, right? I hope we now know what to do. Does anyone have a question? Does anyone have a part that they did not really understand and you want me to explain? I think this is the time to ask questions before I give us our assignments.
Okay, I heard you say something like we can also use PowerPoint at some point. So what
Yes.
application are you currently using?
So there is Genially, and there's Articulate Rise. And then, of course, we can do our animation on PowerPoint as well, so that the video is created on PowerPoint before you move it to an authoring tool. Okay.
Okay.
So for the level where we are, I'll say let's continue with PowerPoint. One thing that I want us to do next year, by God's grace, is to start working. There's a software known as Articulate, where you can, you can create your content, and it's actually a globally recognized software, which will help you to, be on global standard if you can use it. So I'm thinking we should start a boot camp or workshop on a series on how to use Articulate, if that is okay by us. But the thing about Articulate is it's expensive. There's a free version of it, free trial for 1 month. So when you start practicing, of course, you can't learn the whole of Articulate in 1 month. You may have to now start changing your email to register again for another free version, to continue your practice. But Genially is still more affordable with less than $10, I think. Yeah, less than 10,000. You can subscribe on a monthly basis. That is still sustainable. And there's the free version that you can start with, which is indefinite. So if you ask me, I'll say let's start with Genially. And then when we have got a good grasp, let's continue with Genially and also PowerPoint. When we now have a good grasp of how to create scenario-based learning and other content, then you can now decide that, okay, I want to try Articulate within a month and I can get it done. That's what I would suggest, but it's really up to us. I don't know does anybody know about Articulate here? Yes, no?
No.
No, I don't know.
Okay, so it's something that I would like us to actually explore. especially for anybody that is thinking of relocating soon and you want to be able to, you may not even want to relocate, you want to be able to do freelancing in e-learning, and you apply to, I have people in Nigeria that are on job websites, freelance websites, and they get jobs from Nigeria, and they're earning money in dollars, pounds. So that is why I advise that we go for it. But let's learn the basics with PowerPoint and Genially, and then we'll move to articulate maybe in the second quarter of 2024 by God's grace, or later. So a few things that I want us to do. Let me stop sharing. And then I'm going to stop recording. So can anybody, in the chat box, just show to me how the class has been? Do you find it exciting? Is it something that you know part of it before? Is it new? Let's know in the chat. Just send messages, or you can just talk actually. What do you think about the class today? Paloma sent love emoji. Really helpful knowledge, Jonathan. Okay, great to know. Okay, more comments, please. And then do you think it's something you're going to be applying anytime soon in your work? Or even right now? Is there any one of us here that works with content in the organization, and they are going to be able to practice this with something that they are doing at work now? Anyone? We're about to end the class, so let's respond so that we can close, okay?
I have another feedback.
Okay.
It seems as though the issue with the participants being able to share their
assignments,
content. No, not assignments. Their on the Zoom link. Okay. Just like you asked us to drop messages, it seems like that is not been enabled yet. I remember during the last class, someone mentioned that it's only probably the host and the co-host that can send messages that everyone will see. Yes, so I noticed that as well a lot earlier. I said I'll mention it when the class is rounded. I'm sorry.
I said I was going to fix that. I didn't get to. I'm sorry. I'm going to fix that. Let me even look at it from here. Okay, I'm going to fix that. I'm sorry. But the thing is, every message that is being sent, I see it. So like now, Jonathan said it's really helpful knowledge. I understand what you mean for interactivity. That is
because he's a co-host, I believe.
Yeah.
That's why he could send to everyone. Yes. From my own side, it's showing that I can send to only you. So every other person won't see my message.
Okay, let me make everybody co-host right now. Then we'll fix that thing, because obviously I forgot to handle it. Grace is here as well. Grace, you made it to class today. I didn't see you earlier in the class. So co-hosts. So guys, let's put in our chats now so that everyone can see how useful this has been. And is this something that we're going to apply very soon in class? I mean, at work? Or are we going to just try and continue to create courses and build our portfolio? Well, Grant said, I'm mad at myself. It rained last week. There was no light. I missed 9% of today's class. I'll need to watch. Oh, don't beat yourself up, Grace. It's okay. The good thing is the class is being recorded, and then you'll be able to catch up. I trust you. Okay? You'll be fine. So Adebokola said, I feel like I have so much information, but I got to start working and practicing right now. The class has been very helpful. Great to know. Yes, it seems like a lot. Honestly, I wanted to teach us how to animate this, but when I was preparing, I just realized this might be too much to take in. And that's why I also took time to explain to us how to plan the scenario-based content before you actually start doing the content development, because many times people miss it. They believe it's about just putting interactive things together. No, you need to conduct your need analysis. You need to work with your subject matter experts. You need to get your content based on what you want people to learn. what you want people to be able to do, not what you think they should be able to know. Okay. And so let me just do a recap again of what we did, and then I can get, so that I can stop recording and get the recording ready for us ASAP. So our learning outcome has been, so we explored why scenario-based learning is useful. I mean, when it's useful to be able to, for skill development and for boosting our confidence, how to use AI to create your scenario-based learning. We did some of it last week. We mentioned some last week and we mentioned more today. The elements of scenario-based learning, the 3C, challenge, choice, and your consequences, and the requirements, which means you need to plan, you need to have your storyboard, and you need to have your scene. We've done the planning. We talked about planning today. Excuse me, how you should plan. That was when we talked about, working with subject matter experts, how you can use ChatGPT. Excuse me, the storyboarding we did last week, and then developing our scenario-based training. So in developing our scenario-based training, we said there are two parts. The part we did today is creating our master slide, where we have the scene and the character, and then it's actually the part of the development that takes most of the time, because you are putting everything together. You are sourcing for background. Maybe you are on Pixabay looking for your background, looking for character till you get the perfect one, and then you put your slide together. Then the rest will now be you just duplicating your slides and telling your story. So that's what we've been able to do today. And one thing that I want everyone to do is there anyone here that is not connected to our LinkedIn page, that is not on the Facebook group, and also not on Instagram, or even the WhatsApp? I don't know through which channel you came today. So if you are not, make sure you join. Okay, there are 2 new messages here. Olara, you say it's exciting, though very much to assimilate at a go. With much practice, I'll be having full grasp. Absolutely, you will. You will. Trust me. In fact, today's class, if you can practice it today, that's the best thing. So in the WhatsApp group, are we all in the WhatsApp group? I think everyone here is. I'm thinking I should just put because of people that are going to watch the replay, I'm going to put in the links here for people to join if they haven't joined the WhatsApp, Instagram, follow on Instagram, YouTube, subscribe, because I'm going to be very soon, I'm going to be uploading this content on YouTube. So if you're not following, make sure you follow, and then everything will be put in the WhatsApp group as well. And then our Facebook, because it's on WhatsApp and Facebook that we share information. I'm going to put some content on Facebook as well. Okay, so lastly, if you know that this class has been really, really beneficial to you, please, at this time, I need everybody to speak now. I think we should invite people to the group. If you have any friend, I'm going to stop recording now.